Peace, family. Welcome to another episode Underground Railroad Productions. This year host Rich, aka Black Magic, out here spending some time with Red Pill in Harlem, 125th.
Peace to the fam.
Me and Blue been doing the Brooklyn tour lately, so I had to show Harlem some love. Ain't been to Harlem in a minute. I was talking to Red, and I was reading an interesting article in the Los Angeles Times, and we was debating on how much truth we thought there was to the article. The article says, the title of the article says, African Americans are the only U.S. racial group earning less than in 2000. It starts out by saying African Americans were worse off financially in 2016 than they were in 2000. The median income for African American household was $39,490 last year, according to the U.S. Census Bureau released this week. It was $41,363 in 2000. Both figures are on 2016 dollars, so they have been adjusted for inflation. African Americans are the only race group that the Census Bureau identifies that has been left behind. White, Asian, and Latino households have all seen at least modest income gains since 2000. I'm gonna end it right there. So I was just, we was talking, trying to debate, like, is this true? This sounds kind of crazy. Like, no advancement from, worse off in 2016 and 2000. So we was talking, one thing led to another. Red Pill started telling me, it starts with education. He started telling me about a story about his son. His son's going to the 5th grade. I want to start out with you telling the people what you told me about the schooling with your son, and I guess it could lead you into what I just read from this article, Red.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Now, I shared with you that yesterday I attended a parents teachers conference for my son, Amir, who just entered into the 5th grade about a week ago. He's enrolled in a charter school. The name of the school is the College Prep. He's in a College Prep charter school, all right, out there in the Bronx. So one of the things that these schools are, these charter schools are implementing is the core education. So I discovered when I was at the parent-teachers conference yesterday that these children are not really being educated the way that we may think that they are being educated. There's a lot of things being left out of their education. This new way of teaching our children has eliminated the implementation of things like the times table. Like, I heard from 3 different parents complaining to the teachers that they have not taught the children the times table. I'm talking about regular multiplication and division. They have taught them a whole nother approach to mathematics that has excluded the timetable, brother. I've also realized, I also learned yesterday that they don't even implement the Friday spelling test. Remember the spelling test on Fridays?
Yeah, every Friday.
Remember
yes.
pop quizzes?
Yes.
We were definitely not sure if we were going to receive the pop quiz, but you could bet your bottom dollar there was always a spelling test on Fridays. So the children are not really implementing their spelling skills the way that we would, or being challenged on a weekly basis based off of what we learned during that week with a spelling test at the end of the week. And that spelling test helped determine your overall grade. What's being done is the whole semester or the whole school year is being, the children are being prepped, they're being groomed, and they're being taught in order to pass the statewide test. You feel what I'm saying?
So it's all about the statewide test.
It's all about that test. You know what I mean? I believe it's, what is it, ELA? Pardon me if I'm not getting the name of the 2 tests that they're preparing them for, but the teacher even came out and said it right there. Look, we just preparing them for the test. She was like, I don't even approve of the way that we're teaching them math, because that's not how I learned. She was like, look, we can't even teach them penmanship. Do you remember penmanship?
So
she said, I had a problem with 3 of my 5th graders where they did not understand something that I wrote in cursive. I'm like, God damn.
So they no longer know cursive.
They don't know
Script.
penmanship. They don't even know, let alone etymology. Remember, they took etymology out before we got there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So not only are they not learning how to break down a word, they're not even learning the power of the pen. They're not learning penmanship, the art of writing. Remember how when they taught us how to loop things and all of this?
Yeah, yeah.
They don't know that. They know what? They know LOL. You
Wow.
feel me?
Right. OMG.
OMG. It's not even an emphasis on how you spell anymore because most of the spelling is done digitally. Keep in mind, we always have to factor in that this generation that we're identifying or we're speaking of is known as the digital generation. These are children who have, coming into this world from the 2000s and on. You know what I mean? My son is 10. So they're not emphasizing penmanship, how to write. You know what I mean? They don't know nothing about that. I gotta teach that on my own. Okay? So I was just sitting there baffled, like, whoa, I didn't know it was this deep. Because my son is extremely intelligent. You feel what I'm saying? And he's an honor student. So I see the work that he puts in. He was reading on a 5th grade level and probably in the 2nd grade. He was coming out here reading the covers of all the DVDs. Facts. So it's not that he lacking and it may. So I wasn't even. But when I saw from a parental standpoint of what's being done to dumb our children or to keep them in a state where they will not be able to compete. Because if you live in a digital world, that means mathematics, all things digital. This whole thing is about math.
Right.
Okay? This is a digital realm. Look.
Well, how is your son mathematically? I mean,
mathematically, he's tight. You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, they must be teaching him something.
What I'm saying is he has implemented a new formula that his age group has been taught. That's all. He knows that, but he also knows the timetables because we taught him the timetables.
So you taught him personally?
We've been taught. We didn't wait for the school to teach the timetables. Okay. I'm assuming that they're utilizing the timetables. When I went over some of the homework with him over the summer, he was solving his problems a whole different way than how I was solving them. But I didn't know that this was excluded. It was brought to my attention that it wasn't even taught.
Right.
The teacher went rogue and she was like, yo, I printed out because, they got the digital board. My son and all of them work on the Chromebooks. They have the smart blackboard, so the blackboard that we used to use chalk on,
they don't
it's
have
all
that.
digital.
They don't have that.
Son, they could pull my video up on YouTube if they wanted to and just watch it.
Right.
Like, they got music class. They have a segment of music, and the children are asked by the teachers to tell them the kind of music that they listen to. And guess what they listen to? I don't want to cry. All my friends are dead. And that's all. What do they know? What do 5, 6, 7, well, my son is 10, but what do 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, what do you think they're listening to? Peppa Pig? Huh? What are they listening to? Alvin and the Chipmunk soundtrack? No. They're listening to the turn up. They're listening to the mumble. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day so we could put into context what exactly mumble rap is and put into context why you see MCs that are grunting these days. Chakras. Remember we broke down how it speaks to your lower chakra, the mumble rap, the grunting rap, the turn up music. It speaks to your lower chakras because it speaks to your lower self, right? The highest expression of word is poetry. Facts. So when you're able to express yourself in such a way where you're known as a songwriter, where your songwriting skills are something that, people give you awards for, you stimulate your higher chakras. When the music begins to lose the intelligence in the word, it devolves, it falls, you know what I'm saying? It devolves into a state where you just have to do melodies now. You don't even got to talk anymore. You don't have to utilize poetry. You're utilizing harmony. You're utilizing melody. Niggas are grunting. Like how you see in the rock music and the remember, simultaneously, while they're dressing like punk rock stars, aesthetic nihilism, while they're wearing Led Zeppelin, while they're wearing, that's the fashion of the summer, bleached out shirt, Yeezy shit ripped up with the rock bands, right? And that nigga own a guitar. But at the same time, while that's happening, you got a video that came out with a young boy just grunting. Then you have people like, you know, there's all of this fixation with the Little Uzi verse where he's a rock star. Marilyn Manson is his best friend. So he's not even going the Bobby Panic route. He's directly jumping in right into the Church of Satan. And if you don't think that that involves pedophilia, bestiality, all kind of other things, blood rituals, then you obviously been out to lunch. So the music has devolved all the way to a point where it's just mumble, grunting. You don't even have to pronounce a whole word anymore. Does it make you dance? Yes, because it's feeding the lowest chakras. It's feeding your lower self, your base self. And you can't deny that meal. You feel me? You're not gonna deny that meal. So that's why people say what? When I listen to mumble rap, what does it make me feel? Good.
Good, yeah.
It satisfies those base desires. When you listen to a Nas album and you're in the right state of mind, it also makes you feel good, but it's in an elevated mind state. It's not necessarily your lowest chakras, it's the highest chakras that's being fed. So, you know, so all I'm saying is, you know, we got to be very mindful about what's taking place, because all of that ties in to your value. Okay. All of that ties in to your median household income. All of that ties in into your net worth. All of that ties in into, if you're at the bottom, like Claude Anderson said, a permanent fourth class citizen. Because men lie, women lie what? Numbers don't. So if they putting out reports to say, according to the numbers, black people are at the bottom of the pile, we could prove it numerically, because you don't take home the amount of money that the Latin Americans take home. You're not taking home the amount of money that the Asian Americans are taking home. You're taking home peanuts. And because we're teaching you in these failed schools with this failed school curriculum,
Red,
you know.
Red, do you think what's going on in your son's school, is this just a zip code thing, or do you think this is just a new school curriculum overall where they feel as though penmanship and cursive writing and multiplication is not as important as it was in the past?
When this whole thing, this new Board of Education, the Betsy DeVos, but even before her, they were implementing the same programs nationwide. It was a sweep. So they were removing different programs that worked for different schools that taught children on different levels, and they were basically like, yo, all of y'all gotta follow this curriculum. You feel what I'm saying? So it's appearing that this curriculum, I could be wrong. If I am, please correct me and let me know, in different states, do they have different curriculums and different ways of teaching the youth with this new way of teaching them and whatnot. So I know for the charter schools, let me rewind that. It's the charter schools that basically have to follow the charter. So they're teaching the children in a certain kind of way. That's why a lot of people were against the charter school. They was like, don't fall for that. That's the rules. That's basically, you know what I mean? That's not what you think it is. It's about developing your own schools. It's about homeschooling. It's about basically owning or controlling the narrative through the curriculum. And that's something that you're not going to necessarily find. Now, they have STEM schools. They have prep schools, prep academies and things of that nature. I have a niece that goes to school with Donald Trump's son, Barron. She has a scholarship to go to the prep school downtown Manhattan. You feel what I'm saying? Based off of her intelligence, the entry exam that she took many years ago. So there's definitely schools inside of New York City because you got these gentrified neighborhoods and things of that nature. And I'm sure that these Europeans are definitely teaching their children how to prepare for the future, because wherever they're not teaching our children technology, computer science, programming. Remember, to understand that, you have to have a deep understanding of math. So if they're not teaching them that in their developmental stages, well, God damn it, they're setting them up for something else. Maybe lifetime employment at Walmart. Okay? Well, you just gotta, can I take your order, please? You know what I mean? So we really gotta ask ourselves, are they only preparing Americans to be a permanent consumer base, where there's a small percentage of them that they are now teaching, in the age of information that is, that they're teaching the tools that they need in order to compete? Because we're talking about Asia, we're talking about India, we're talking about Africa. It's a global competition taking place right now. And please believe me, the 5th graders in Asia, certain places in Asia like China, right, like Japan, like Korea, North and South, like Africa, they're not learning at that. They're not learning on mundane levels like that. And that's not to take away to say that my son is learning on a mundane level, because he is intelligent. He learns at home. My son been in more lectures than most people that I know. He soaks up that information. He's been from, right? Facts.
Yeah, yeah.
From the womb, he was getting the light.
LIU.
From LIU days. So he got what he, you know what I mean? He got his bars and whatnot. But what I'm noticing is that the school system is definitely lacking, is lacking the tools at this point, man. A lot of things are, huh?
It's a lack of education.
Lack of education, man.
Lack of education.
You know, facts. That's why these videos are so important. That's why the alternative media is so important. That's why the community or the network of conscious teachers are so important, because they are going to be the ones, they're not the only ones. When the entertainers decide that they want to be the educators or the inter-trainers, you know what I mean? They'll fit in that category as well. When the athletes and everybody else who have a brain decide that they want to start putting it out there and teaching people, then they'll fall in that category as well. But right now, the value of the teachers have to be recognized. They have to be shown some kind of appreciation, because they are the ones holding a lot of the keys to teach not only the parents but the children as well. You feel what I'm saying? Like, keep in mind, they can absorb. Look at KT, the arts degree, who was self-taught along with being taught in the schools. He was taught by Dr. Sabi. He was taught by Mama Pill. He was taught on his own by educating himself when you had to go to the library, before the Google and whatnot. Do you know when they have math problems, they go to Google? Do you know when they're reading English, when they're in English class and there's certain words that they don't understand or concepts that they're not familiar with, they'll go right to Google? You dig what I'm saying? We had to go to the dictionary, we had to go to the encyclopedia, we had to go to other different periodicals in order to receive what it is that we needed to learn. They're going right online. You know what I'm saying? So
autocorrect and all that. You saying they just ask Siri?
Just ask Siri.
Just ask Siri to answer, huh?
Yeah, Google. Yeah. What's that? What is it when you want to talk to Google? Google something, and it'd be like yes, and you just say it. So all I'm saying is, when you brought up the fact that our race that has been identified as the Black Americans, right? They are, you know, statistically being shown to on a global scale that they are at the bottom of the barrel after so many years in America, so many strides, so many images of success. Keep that in mind. so much of a perception. I was just watching a video on Facebook of a continental African. He's in his living room. He's speaking to African Americans. He's saying, you are the most powerful melanated people on the planet. Please don't ever forget that. The access that you have to the resources that are available here, the fact that everybody listens to y'all, the fact that people follow your culture around the world, and you know what I mean? And they not only do they follow it, they live by it. He was like, y'all don't worship white people the way that Africans and other people worship the European. A lot of y'all don't give a damn about that. Y'all not caught up in that dream. Y'all living your own thing. He was like, don't negate the power that you have. He was like, people come over here because they see that you live in the dream. So is it a dream or is it a reality? Because how much a year on the median income for black households? What's the median?
It was 39,490 was the median income for African Americans last
40
year.
racks.
According to 41,000 in the year 2000.
They just had a battle on URL Summer Madness where Hitman Holla made 30K to show up, 30 racks to show up to battle K-Shine. So he made in one battle what the median average black family is making in a year. Think about that. You feel what I'm saying? That's no money. That's peanuts. When we were talking about the Facts Initiative with the 30,000 at $20, that yielded a $600,000 pot. You feel what I'm saying? And how many millions of us is there? 44? So I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's single households.
Yeah, I was about to bring it up. There's no households. There's no households anymore.
The reason why the number has deteriorated, because it has not increased, it has systematically decreased. When you factor in the 1 million missing brothers, when you factor in the amount of people who are statistically on record for being incarcerated, when you factor in the amount of missing people, and then when you factor in the single parent households.
Right.
I'm only using all of those examples.
Because when you think about it, if they're saying households and they're going in these other racist households and there's two parents in the household, 40 plus 40, that's 80. But if you're in that black household,
they can't add up nobody that's not there.
There's nothing adding up. It's just that one income, which might be 39, which might be 45 or something like that, 50. So yeah, so
perfect case, perfect example of how everything changes. The children who are born, remember, the babies are born hardwired. What do I mean? I mean the babies are born operating technology as if they have an innate understanding of the technology, and that's a fact. So there's been proven when you go on Google and do the research that there are children that are 12 years old, 13 years old, going into college right now that have been homeschooled. And there's also children who are millionaires who have done what? Embrace technology at a young age, and they become app developers, they become product developers, they become entrepreneurs working for themselves. They utilize all of the boom that are taking place online in the technology world to become tax-paying citizens, but also millionaires, thousandaires, and multimillionaires. So we know that the children are now part of the median household. So our children in these schools have to begin, if not in the schools, outside of the schools, after school programs, online academies, membership sites and things of that nature. You dig what I'm saying? Where the children, or even when you have summer camp or when you have tutors, the children have to learn all things digital at this point in time, and they have to be able to learn about entrepreneurism, tapping into their talents, tapping into their they got children on YouTube that are getting checks bigger than some of the adults. Do you know that?
That video game market.
That video game market is super wavy.
But this is what I'm saying though, Red. It's like when you look at the video game market, Red, and you look at the kids on YouTube making money promoting video games, they're getting endorsements from all types of companies.
Yeah.
Along with YouTube giving them a check. So they're getting all types of checks.
Yes.
Why is it so hard for our culture, hip-hop, let me just say hip-hop culture or whatever, to understand that if your kid is going to be in the video games, monetize it. If your kid is going to be if you're going to be into makeup, monetize it. It seems as though we get involved in everything for fun.
Yeah.
And everybody else gets involved in it and makes an industry out of it.
They industrial.
Right. What is that? Why is that?
They're industrial, and we're content as a whole, not as a minority, as a whole or majority. A majority of us are content with being customers. We find some kind of gratification, or we find edification in being a cash paying customer. That does something to us that says, you know what? We matter. Green dollars matter, right? They want their dollars to matter. They want them being customers to matter. They're saying to themselves, we don't have to take it further than that. But we're not being taught, or we're not being trained, or we're not being programmed to say, wait a minute, we all been playing Nintendo from the 80s. Who owns stock in EA Sports? Who owns stock in Nintendo? Who owns stock in PlayStation? Whoever got together as a group of melanated African Aboriginal people and say, yo, what does it take to make a video game? What are the steps? Because I'm seeing these video games get money like movies. And I know that we got mad stories to tell. My thing is this: children should be learning how to be participants in every single field that they participate in. If we're not raising them to be business disruptors, or we're not teaching them to be business owners or participants in industries that they are belonging to, then we don't have nobody to blame but ourselves. You dig what I'm saying? We don't have nobody to blame but ourselves.
What you think about this new iPhone facial recognition and where technology is going? Is this some real AI Minority Report type ish? Are you happy with the progression of technology?
I don't approach technology from a happy or sad place. I don't approach it from an emotional place. I approach it from what it is: a scientific, mathematical application of information, results, knowledge. I mean, you apply the knowledge and you getting wisdom out of it. The Moore's law that dictates that the Pentium chip or the microchip every 18 months will evolve, meaning that technology will always perpetually evolve in front of you. It's going to always evolve. So all I'm looking for is the evolution of that. I don't catch feelings about it. Do I? Why don't I? Because like everything, it could be used to your advantage or your disadvantage. So the iPhone with the facial recognition, it is a part of what is known as big data. Now, peace, God. Now, that piece of big data that they're putting into the puzzle, meaning that they're going to develop technology. Look at this. This is facial recognition that you're seeing above you. This technology, this is a multi-million-dollar camera system that has been spread around the circle. You know, what do they call that? The circle of fire or something? It's basically the surveillance program that's mimicking what they had in the UK and London, where surveillance is linked up to central computers. They're feeding the data of facial recognition into a data bank. They're identifying people who they see as threats. Augmented reality. The iPhone is also coming with augmented reality. We already told the family before, augmented reality of the future is this. Google Glasses was supposed to come out commercially. What size are you, good brother? All right, give me 1 second. You feel free to look through the other designs too. There's 2X's in that right there with the foils, yeah. Augmented reality. The Google Glasses was supposed to come out for commercial use. They canned it and made it enterprise, meaning that law enforcement bought into the Google Glasses because the technology was so far ahead. What is augmented reality? You see the cops with the body cams? All right. Picture if the body cam, if they walk around with a body cam on and they're able to see everybody through everybody's face through the body cam or through the Google glasses where the camera will have augmented reality, meaning that your threat level, your criminal record, all of the things will be color coded right in front of them. If you have a warrant, they'll be able to find that through facial recognition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the ways that, remember, when you talk about enterprise, you're talking about how different industries go and look at technology and then cater, or they basically, you know, conform that technology to fit into their industry and work for them, right? So that's what you're seeing when you see law enforcement jump in with augmented reality. Now, is the iPhone 10 going to be doing that? No, the iPhone 10 is simply going to be collecting data. It's called data mining. So now, when the companies buy in your traveling habits, when they buying into your web browsing habits, what websites do we like to visit? What is his eating habits? What, you know what I mean? What's the frequency in which he likes to watch nudes? All of that stuff. That's big data. What is his shopping habits? Now they're gonna have your face. So that's just another. Big Pharma has pushed. What was it? What was the big oil as the highest grossing industry in the world? Because it's not just America anymore. Everything is transnational. So in this world, big data is at the top. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, people. I saw the meme where they was like, Little Kim is gonna have trouble. I have a problem getting into her phone because of the faceless. You know,
Oh man.
everybody out there doing that face work. You know, be careful. You might not be able to get in your phone.
Right.
They got people in the bed sleeping with ski masks on, so they sure they don't line their face up. So it's gonna present different challenges, but for the creators out there and the people who are visionaries, you got to learn now how to utilize that face recognition for your benefit. Give me 1 second.
Wrap it up, because I gotta, just leave the people your info.
Yeah. Go and download the Know the Ledge app out of the iTunes stores and the Google store. You know what I mean? We're dealing with some technology. We're reaching out to all app developers and programmers and coders. Please sign up for the membership. Get with us, because we got some things going on in the future. Like I said, these babies need to upgrade. We need to close this digital divide. It's not going to happen in these public schools. It's not going to happen in these charter schools. It's going to happen through the communities and the people who are visionaries and forward thinkers and whatnot. All right? So salute to everybody. Love and light. Peace.